Coming into the season, one of the biggest question marks for the Packers was how the young group of skilled players that the team has accumulated in the draft and free agency would turn out. We expected there to be some ups and downs this season, but over the course of the year, they had a good amount of players step up and show that they can be a part of the future here in Green Bay. This is the second video in my yearly series where I go back and take a look at the Packers and grade each player based on what their expectations were heading into the season and their overall performance during the season as well. The grading scale is as followed. A is for a player that had an all-pro caliber season, way exceeding expectations. B is for a player that had a Pro Bowl caliber season or just exceeding expectations. C is a player that had a solid season and made expectations. D is for a player that had a disappointing season. And F is for players that completely stunk it up. So let's go ahead and get started with these two position groups, the wide receiver and tight end rooms. The Packers' second of their two second-round picks in the 2023 draft, out of Michigan State, Jayden Reed was expected to be a good complementary weapon in the slot to both Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs on the outside. Instead, Reed became the top pass catcher for the Packers as a rookie, setting several Green Bay rookie records in the process. He also showed some similar skills to Deebo Samuel with some explosive plays on jet sweeps and out of the backfield, and he just really impressed this year. For the regular season, Reed caught 64 passes on 94 targets for 793 yards with a yard per reception of 12.4. He also had 8 receiving touchdowns, which was tied for the team lead. He also contributed 119 rushing yards on the year with 2 additional touchdowns. Reed didn't get that much action in the playoffs, only having 4 receptions for 35 yards in both games. But that does not take away from an incredible season that Reed had, where he finished 6th in Offensive Rookie of the Year voting. I'm giving Reed a grade of B+ for the season, as he really impressed this year and will be a very dangerous weapon for the Packers for the foreseeable future. After a strong finish to his rookie season in 2022, the North Dakota State product was expected to take a big leap and to be the clear number 1 guy for Jordan Love in 2023. But that did not end up taking place, as Watson really struggled with a hamstring injury that impacted him early in the season. He missed a total of 8 games on the year, 3 in the beginning and the final 5 regular season games as well, and also just had a couple of really bad games. The one against the Raiders was particularly bad, as he didn't really seem to be fighting for the ball a lot and did not get a lot of jump balls with his big frame. But he did have a really good stretch of games right before the injury that cost him the rest of the regular season. Overall for the season, Watson had 28 receptions on 53 targets for 422 yards and 5 touchdowns. He did not get a lot of attention in the playoffs, only having 2 receptions for 20 yards in the 2 games. But he was more of a decoy, taking a lot of attention away from the defense and letting guys like Doubs and Wicks get open. Overall, it was a disappointing season for Christian Watson, and I'm giving him a grade of C- for his 2023 season. But I fully expect a big bounce back season in 2024 if he can remain healthy, as he has all the talent in the world, and I think him and Jordan Love will have a lot of chemistry together. So I'm hoping he gets better. The surprising breakout piece of this offense, Dontayvion Wicks, far exceeded his expectations that he had as a 5th-round rookie out of Virginia. It did take him some time to get that breakout status, though, as he did not really have a consistent role within the Packers offense until week 8. But when he did get consistent targets, he really impressed. It was like he was always open, having insane separation from defensive backs and having some of the best route running abilities in the league as only a rookie. Overall, in the regular season, Wicks had 39 receptions on 58 targets for 581 yards, a catch percentage of 67.2%, and 4 receiving touchdowns in what was basically half a season for him based on his reps. In the playoffs, Wicks had 2 receptions for 25 yards and a touchdown against the Cowboys, but had no receptions against the 49ers. Overall, Wicks had a really good rookie year, especially for being a 5th-round rookie, and was expected to be the 4th, or 5th, or maybe even 6th guy on the team, but ended up being the 3rd best receiver on the team. And I'm giving Wicks a grade of B+, as he exceeded all of my expectations and delivered a really good year. The future is bright with him, and I expect him to be even better in 2024. A late season addition to the Packers wide receiver core came from the practice squad. Melton came in after Christian Watson went down for injuries for the second time in the 2023, and with what limited game time he had, Melton played really, really well. He had the first 100-yard receiving game for the Packers in Week 17 against the Vikings, and in just 4 regular season games, Melton had 16 receptions on 24 targets for 218 yards and a touchdown. He added in 2 receptions for 26 yards and a touchdown in the playoffs, with that touchdown coming against the 49ers in the divisional round. For a guy who was on the practice squad most of the season, Melton really stepped up for when it mattered most, and I'm giving him a grade for a B for a really fantastic season for when he was on the field, and really put himself in conversation for being wide receiver number 5 next season as well. Excellent work for the Rutgers product. Coming into the season with less hype than fellow receivers Christian Watson, Jayden Reed, and tight end Luke Musgrave, Romeo Doubs flew under the radar and kind of quietly had a really solid regular season before absolutely exploding in production in the playoffs. He was one of Jordan Love's favorite targets, leading the team both targets and receiving touchdowns, as well as finishing second on the team in yards and actual receptions. Doubs finished with 59 receptions on 96 targets, having 674 receiving yards and 8 receiving touchdowns. But he absolutely dominated in the playoffs, having a breakout game against the Cowboys, recording 6 receptions and 151 yards and a touchdown, and also played really, really well against San Fran, having 4 receptions for 83 yards. Overall, it was a really good season for Romeo, and I'm giving him a grade of B. Nothing too out there in terms of performance, but he had another solid season and is one of the bright young weapons for the Green Bay Packers. The first of the Packers' 2 second-round picks, the Oregon State product, was the most hyped tight end Green Bay has had since Jermichael Finley. He ended up having a very interesting season, missing a good chunk of time in the middle of the year with a lacerated kidney. When he was on the field, he had shown some great flashes of his talent, making great catches while having good separation as well, but he did have kind of one big flaw, and that was he often tripped himself up while he was on the field, causing him not to have many yards after the catch as he should have. But showed plenty of talent to make a case for tight end 1 next year, and overall in 11 games, Luke Musgrave had 34 receptions on 46 targets for 352 yards and a touchdown. In the playoffs, he had 6 receptions for 66 yards and had a massive touchdown against the Cowboys. I'm giving Musgrave a grade of B- as he did miss time with injury and wasn't able to get a ton of opportunities to showcase his natural abilities. But I do believe that he could take a step up next year and be a really key player in this Packers offense. Coming into the season as the Packers' second-string tight end, the third-round pick out of South Dakota State really stepped up when his number was called when Luke Musgrave went down with injury. He started off a bit rough this year, struggling with run blocking and with some consistency with route running, but showed massive improvement throughout the season and potentially emerging as tight end 1 for the Packers. Across 17 games, Kraft had 31 receptions on 40 targets for 355 yards and 2 touchdowns in the regular season. And in the playoffs, he added an additional 5 receptions for 24 yards and a touchdown. He really surprised me down the stretch, as he really proved that he is much more than a blocking tight end and can be a really good receiving threat along with Musgrave. I'm giving Tucker a grade of B, as he really surprised me and exceeded my expectations for him in the second half. And I really think him and Luke Musgrave are going to be an incredible tight end duo for years to come. Malik Heath was a very surprising guy to make it onto the Packers roster, considering he was an undrafted rookie out of Ole Miss. He appeared in 13 games as the Packers' kind of 6th/5th wide receiver, and he was primarily used as a blocking wide receiver, where he was excellent and made some amazing blocks with good determination in the run game. He was also pretty decent in the passing game when he got looked at, having 15 receptions on 24 targets for 125 yards and a touchdown as well. Honestly, considering his position on the team, a really impressive year, and I'm giving him the grade of B, as he had a much larger role than was expected from him, considering that he was undrafted. In what was a make-or-break season for Josiah DeGuara's career, the former third-round pick definitely fell on more of the broke side. He was surpassed on the depth chart by all 3 other tight ends and had his worst season receiving as well. He had only 8 targets in 2023, catching all 8 of them for 65 yards and a touchdown, and he missed incredible blocks that he just whiffed on and did not have much production as well. And I'm giving him a grade of D- for the season. The only reason why it is not an F is because he did catch a touchdown, but I highly doubt that he will be on the team in 2024. Another player who was expected to take a step up this year, Toure, instead got passed up by other receivers on the Packers roster such as Tavian Wicks, Bo Melton, and even Malik Heath. Really disappointing for the second-year man out of Nebraska. In 11 games, he had 8 receptions for 78 yards. Not a great season, and it will be really hard for Toure to make the roster next year due to the intense competition. I'm giving him a grade of D-, and I really do not expect him to make it past the training camp. Used primarily as the Packers' run-blocking specialist tight end, Sims had a pretty solid season in that role. He showed some ability to catch as well, having 4 receptions for 21 yards and his first career touchdown. Not bad for an undrafted rookie out of Baylor. I'm giving Sims a grade of C- for a decent season. I would imagine that he will be back next year as well, but will have competition for his roster spot. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more. And let me know what you guys think down below. And what do you think these guys' grades deserve to be? Coming up next is the offensive line. And I hope you guys stick around for that. See ya.